And all right. So welcome back, Lisa. You are just one of our regulars. Love having you here on this November the 10th, 2021. Can you believe it? Um, Already moving so quickly. And Renee, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Where are you?
I'm kind of excited because I've had this for a couple of years.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes. And
So,
I started it, but then, everything else happened.
yes, well, Renee, tell me, where are you located?
I'm in Pennsylvania,
Okay. So how did you
Hanover,
hear?
PA.
How did
I'm
you
sorry.
hear about us? How did you hear about this class?
I sent you a message. I was over in Reading area at Pottstown with Scott McKay, and I saw you on his video. So give Scott, the Patriot Street Fighter, full credit.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Glad to
Tom,
meet everybody.
yes, wonderful. Well, we'll have more and they'll just show up whenever they show up. And Tom, thank you for joining us from Florida. And glad to have you
Morning.
back. Good morning. And Dr. V, thank you for joining us, Vern. It's always good to have you here.
Good morning.
So I am in Colorado visiting my daughter and helping out with my little 6-month-old grandbaby, who is adorable, and he is a precious little chunky monkey. So I am realizing that I'm going to have to go home and use my weights and work out some more to be able to hold him and not totally just completely hurt my back, because I'm feeling that incredible, amazing weight of that baby on my back. Kat, good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Joining us from Woodstock, Georgia.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, it's so fun. All righty. Well, today, November the 10th, is a really, really incredible day. I'm going to go ahead and just mute everybody, and you guys unmute yourselves when it's time to share. But today is a really incredible day. We are just on the cusp of 11/11. And for those of you who are really comfortable with what is way beyond us, it is a time to rejoice that we are being supported by that which is beyond what we can see. We are not the only game in town. We've been conditioned to believe that this body is all there is, this planet is all there is. Yes, we see planets out there, but that this civilization on this planet is all there is, that we're the most intelligent beings around. So the ignorance and the arrogance of the conditioning of that has kept so many of us from understanding our oneness with all of it, our oneness with the greater, and I don't want to call it greater because it doesn't consider itself greater than we are, but the allness of all that is, that whether we call it God, source, spirit, creator, Buddha, Allah, it doesn't matter what we call it. It knows what it is. We could call it Bambi for all it cares. What matters is that we recognize that we are a very important part inside of the cosmos. We truly matter beyond our wildest dreams. So that which is all that is infusing this little planet that could with a lot of light, a lot of energy, a lot of frequencies. You know, when you hear that there's more light coming to the planet, what that looks like, to have a visual of what's happening, is the veil is thinning. Our memory of the truth of who we are is thinning. We are, when we enter through reincarnation into this physical experience, we cannot play being human full out if we remember that what we really are is non-physical. To play physical full out, there has to be a veil of forgetfulness. That veil, which is nothing more than the settings within us densifying, they are lightening up, they are breaking down, meaning we are remembering more of the truth of who we are. So what has been happening ever since 2012, well, actually before that, since the harmonic convergence in 1988, we began to receive activations. And those who are waking up because we agreed to wake up. No one who is waking up, or I'm sorry, no one who is not awake is going to be able to wake up if they don't have an agreement. And all of us have an agreement that we wake up at specific times. And there is a reason for that. We are gradually, the truth has been coming to the planet gradually. So we are gradually awakening, expanding the numbers of us who can really see what's going on. Those numbers are expanding gradually because our human brains could not handle the cognitive dissonance of all of a sudden waking up. So we do it gradually, and we are inspired by those that are around us. We watch somebody that we know, we recognize that they are doing it. We see a book, we watch a movie, we're being influenced, like Renee finding me through the conversation with Scott McKay. We are being awakened, or our awakening is being activated. Nobody outside of us wakes us up. We awaken inside through the activation of specific agreements that we have made before we incarnate. And those agreements are intensifying because it is time for us to get comfortable with the truth of who we are. So let me share. This portal, 1111, is the, I'm going to say, the line in the sand, a very, very deep, deep line in the sand that you guys need to get really clear about what side of the line you're on. I know where you guys are, but more importantly, what that means for you. One side of the line is acknowledging several things. Number one, you are a free being. You are here because you wanted to be here. And you are awakening to the truth of who you are because you made an agreement to be in service to humanity. To the extent that you are in service will be made known to you through your desires. You're going to feel it inside. Some people are being inspired into action in the medical establishment because people are waking up as doctors. People are waking up as nurses, as virologists. Some people are waking up in the legal field. They're the ones who are taking legal action. They're the ones who are explaining patents. They are messengers of truth inside of those specific areas. Some of us are waking up as a mom. My daughter is waking up as a mom who is all of a sudden conscious, realizing, oh, hell no, I'm not going to vaccinate my child. And she has just totally opened up her entire world because she became a mother. The act of becoming a mom had her now begin to pay attention to what goes into a body. And it starts with her little baby. And she was very clear from the get-go, no, we are not going to inject this child with anything. And she and her husband began to become self-aware and began to open up to see what's going on in the world. When you begin to feel this call internally, and the call may be just to be in prayer, the most important thing that will allow you to really be of greater service is to have compassion for those who are not awake. Those who are not awake are on the other side of the line. They too have an agreement. They have a role to play. They're playing the role of densifying themselves so that we can enlighten ourselves. You know how in the nighttime it has to be darker for us to see the stars? They are going darker. They are going into fear. They're giving up power. They are the ones who are helping us see manipulation. They're the ones who are helping us see fear at a level that we've never seen before. Their fears are making them reject their family members. That's pretty amazing. So their darkening into fear is enlightening us into freedom. So when you are clear about your role, you first and foremost acknowledge how powerful you are. In gratitude for choosing to wake up at this time, and compassion for those who are making it easier for you to see the insanity of listening to the ego, making the ego our idol, and then believing the ego when the ego mind gets conditioned to believe that power is outside of us, that authority is outside of us. Course in Miracles is super, super clear. We have an authority problem. And the Course says, if you can solve the authority problem, you will have no problems. And the authority problem is that we have been conditioned since we were itty bitty that mother, father, teacher, preacher, government, media, superstar, movie star, whatever, that they have more authority than we do, that they get to tell us what we believe and don't believe, to the point that religion has made itself the authority about what God says, the authority about what Jesus taught. So we have to get really comfortable with pulling back authority from our bosses, from our partners, from our parents, from the government, from the doctors. And when the mind gets conditioned that that is the source of authority, guess what it does? It makes us feel like we're totally complete victims. We're at the mercy of something else. And this is the main, this is where the most discomfort is going to come in. When people begin to realize, those who are still yet to awaken, but need to see things get a lot darker because more are going to cross the line, they are going to have to experience some pretty uncomfortable realities. And that is that those that they trusted and believed that they were going to make them well, keep them safe, totally, completely lied to them. They're going to be jumping that line. But they're going to be jumping that line without the awareness that we have. They're going to be scared out of their minds. They're going to be totally, completely in a state of shock that they trusted doctors, they trusted government, they trusted somebody else to take care of them that did not. That deserves compassion, not an I told you so, because they have helped us as they participated in this game of mind control. They helped us see more clearly what we don't want. And the Course in Miracles is also very clear. For us to know what we want, we must see what we don't want. The Course is helping us train our mind into seeing clearly what the ego created. It's all about me, 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 me. And it's all about external authority tells me what to do, because even though me, 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 it's all about me, does not really trust me. So we have a conflict inside of us where it's all about me, but I can't trust me. So I go outside. That's the programming of the ego, confusion in the mind. God, on the other hand, not only is it what we're made of, but we utilize God's power to create our reality. With the ego, we block our ability to create with love when we allow ourselves to trust that God is the only authority. And we begin to heed the teachings of Jesus that 2,000 years ago has been telling us love is the only way. So this is a journey of self-love. It's a journey of learning to love ourselves enough to begin to understand that we're really powerful. We chose to come in, take on an ego, descend into the density of the story of separation, the illusion of separation, because we can't be separate. We're in the mind of the creative source. So when we accept that we chose to go to sleep, we chose to get indoctrinated, we chose that. But we chose it so we could see that we no longer want it. We are moving to another dimension. We are moving, those who cross the line are literally creating a new earth. We are coming together to take over the government so that we're represented as God-connected beings, as freedom-seeking beings that we are. We're coming together with doctors, with those who are healers, who are going to be, who believe in the innate abilities in our body. We are giving credit to the creative source for creating us so powerful. So the mind has to be set straight. Course in Miracles was given to us 50 years, 60 years ago to help train our mind to understand what the ego does and not to judge it, but to recognize we're done with it. It's like a pair of shoes that you wore when you were 3 years old. You might have been the most beautiful pair of shoes, but it's time to put it down. It's time to put that toy down. Or another analogy, take off the training wheels. That's what the ego was, training wheels to learn how to be on the planet, to learn how to be a human. We are shifting to being sovereign beings who are attracting other sovereign beings. And 1111 is the energy is intensifying. The veil is thinning even more in our minds. More of us are going to be able to see what's happening more clearly, which means a lot are going to cross the line in terror. In terror Oh my God, I took a job. I took two. I took three. I made my child take it. Terror is going to be gripping us because those who are going to be pushing back against the tyranny that is coming is only going to get intensified. As more people push back against the mandates, those who are mandating are going to push even harder. Be prepared. We're in the middle of a power struggle. We're in the middle of a battle. And those who want to control, who have been in control because we gave them power to control us, they are not going to go without a big fight. But here's the thing. They don't have power, ultimate power over what happens to humanity. They don't have ultimate power over the agreements that we have made before we incarnated. But they are going to play out their part because they do have agreements with those who are still asleep to wake them up. And for more to wake up, they need the news to get a little tighter. It is our work, those of us who already see what's going on, it is our work to be peaceful, to be gentle, because there's a lot who are going to, with cognitive dissonance, enter into the realm of terror. As the food shortages continue, as the lockdowns continue, as the mandates continue, as people face losing their jobs because it's going to get worse, as we see more and more tyranny, we need to stay more and more grounded in our peace so that they can see us as the lighthouses to say, how can you be so peaceful? How did you walk away from your job? How did you leave your career behind and stand so firm in not getting a job? Aren't you afraid for your family? Well, many are going to say, you know what? I'm afraid for my family. I'm afraid, we may not have enough money. We may not have whatever. But I realize that freedom is more important than for me to be under this tyranny. Many, many humans have not had to experience a choice between freedom and tyranny. That's only in a few countries. And that is something that, even though we have all been living under the illusion of freedom felt pretty free. Now we're seeing the reality that we have been in an illusion of freedom by seeing the reality of the controllers that we have given our powers to. Nobody needs to be judged for that. Everybody needs to just play their part full out. And the way you play your part full out is by connecting to the inner authority that will guide you. Something we have not been taught, good at. We have not been good at listening to that intuitive voice. And it is time that you be clear when you're talking to somebody and you're hearing that intuition, say, I'm hearing it inside. We have got to train the world into realizing that those who are operating in the greatest levels of peace have peace because they're listening to the authority inside. That's what the world needs to see now more than ever, where peace comes from. So we stop the illusion that peace comes from a government that goes to war with others, that we're going to get peace by locking down our neighbors, that we're going to get health by jabbing our family members. We've got to get clear that we are on a mission from God. And as we continue our studies in the Course in Miracles today, we're going to go even deeper into realizing that we are the change we've been waiting for. It starts right here. As Gandhi says, we have to be the change we want to see in the world. So with that, let me open up. Let me hear from anybody who is here. And by the way, the Living A Course in Miracles class, I wasn't able to do it last night. We're going to do it tonight. So if anybody wants to join that, make sure you send me a message and I can send you the link to register. You can still join us. That's perfectly okay. It's only $20 and we do it on Zoom at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right, so let me open this up. Anybody want to share how you've been utilizing A Course in Miracles in your life, how that's showing up in however it's showing up for you? Share your experience with how you're standing more sovereign because of your decision to study what the Course is teaching. So please unmute yourself. And as always, if nobody does, hello, Miss Cat. If nobody does, we will go then to right to classes. Hey, Cat.
Hi, hi. Oh, I just wanted to share, after I watched that podcast with you and Scott McKay, something he said and that y'all discussed, it just resonated with me so much. It's like, are you happy? Truly happy? So I went on what I call a meditative walk yesterday, and I just dove into that. It's like, look at it. Am I really happy? And what does that mean? So it was so powerful. And I sometimes I have an underlying anxiety like going on underneath somewhere. And I'm like, what is that about? That's blocking my happiness. So it's pure ego. It's like, it's about the future. That anxiety is concerns about the future. And I thought, I'm not living in the present moment. If I just, in this beautiful moment, am I happy? Yes. Am I truly happy? Yes. If I start projecting, into the future, then that's where the anxiety comes from. So it was a really powerful process for me, and a deeper connection. Another little aha. I mean, I knew all this with all the work that we've done. I've done. So yeah, that was so powerful. Sometimes things just hit you that you've heard over and over, but you we know that that's our purpose, is to be happy. We know that's God's purpose for us. So what's blocking that? Nothing but ego. Nothing but
Exactly.
fear.
Exactly. And ego, as we have learned, is nothing but the beliefs that we have been programmed with. That's all that ego is. So it's the identity that we create by taking on beliefs that are not true and agreeing with them. So when we are told that we have to live our lives to prepare for the future, that is an indoctrination. It's an indoctrination that keeps us from being present and happy in this now moment. Because the last thing that those who are attempting to control humanity want is happy people. You cannot control happy people. They're absolutely not controllable. That's why we take happy little children and send them through 12 to 16 to 20 years of schooling to take the happy out of them, to make them rigid and to follow rules and to get comfortable with responsibility and turning things in and following rules, and you only speak when you're spoken to. All of those things are part of the indoctrination. So when we look to those beliefs and begin to question them, that is the work of awakening, is a letting go of a limitation, letting go of a block to the truth that we already are. Like the Course says, we do not have to understand what love is. We don't need to understand what truth is. We don't need to understand what God is. We need to remove the blocks to it. And the blocks are easier to identify the more we come to feel inside what feels peaceful, what feels true, from what feels anxious, what causes anxiety, because that's exactly what you did, is what we have to do. But as you know, it's a process of refining. But in this portal that we're in, anyone who desires to feel truth is going to feel it faster, because we're utilizing the energy. We're riding the wave of ascension. It's almost as if we've been given this incredible opportunity, which is this energy, this frequency, that if you say, God, not my way, I want to do your way. I want to surrender to God's will. Very hard for the ego to do, because the ego is all about me. I'm in charge. I'm in control. Even though it has no control, because it gives control to something external, to money, to whatever. But aligning with God's will is what is going to help us open up our minds to new ways of doing things. Beauty, creativity, ideas, possibilities beyond our wildest imaginations, because the mind has to open up to something that has never been in this world, our reality. So thank you for coming to the present moment. Not only will you find your peace, but there's the portal to the creativity that can flow through you. And it can only flow into us in the now moment. We never got a great idea doesn't hit us in the future or 10 years ago. A great idea is now, only now. So thank you for that, Kat. Anybody else want to share? Thank you.
Laina?
Yes.
It's Vern.
Yes.
Thanks, Kat. I appreciate that. One of the things I'm getting pretty clear on for myself is that when I ask myself if I'm happy, then that another word comes in, are you satisfied? In other words, are you happy? Are you satisfied? And what I began really getting clear on is I'm no longer focusing on trying to be happy or if I am happy. I'm focused on one thing, going within and asking what I need to do. Because I think happiness comes from actively creating and actively creating what the universe, what God wants me to do. And therefore, to me, I've always been happy, more happy when I've been creative, when I've been creating things that add value. I'll put the caveat on adding value, and it's got to add value to the whole. That was the last part that I had to get clear on. I used to create for myself and then for the others around me, my community, people that I cared about in a sense. But I've gotten very clear now that if I really want to be happy, then I have to be open to be creative. And all I need is direction as to how I should do that. And so I spend my time not asking or looking if I'm happy or not. I basically spend my time is on a regular basis, about 3 or 4 times a day, getting quiet, going within and asking myself, okay, what can I do to add value? So that's my part. Thank you.
Beautiful. I absolutely love that. And the course tells us, let me tell you the exact lessons so that I can quote them. 65 and 66. So lesson 65 says, my only function is the one God gave me. And lesson 66 says, my happiness and my function are one. So God gave us a function. And that's the only function that we need to be focused on. And that is to be happy. And happiness, as you were saying, is not only being present, as Kat said, not only is it listening to inspiration so that we are in service, as Vern said, and that's why we have been told through, how many teachers for how many thousands of years, not my will, but thine be done. We have been conditioned to put God out there outside of us on a cloud somewhere. This is a punishing God that turns people into pillars of salt. All that stuff is stuff that has been taught to us, has been conditioned into us by those who wanted to control our minds. The most important thing to control somebody's mind is to put God outside of them. And once God is outside of them, then we're all on our own trying to figure it out. Well, you can't figure it out with a mind that has blocked creativity, that has blocked newness, that has blocked something that has never been before, because we have all been doing exactly what Einstein said, doing the same thing, expecting different results, which is why we're all crazy. We're all insane. To open that portal to creativity requires that we surrender to that there is a creator that is the infinite source of creativity, and it is our work to align with it and receive through us. That doesn't make us submit to God, it's submissive to God. That makes us one with. And to be able to accept that incredible opportunity to be an expression for the divine, to be a portal through which amazing things flow, is to really move out of ignorance because you know the truth, and move out of arrogance, thinking that we know better or something external knows better, which is the authority problem. There is nothing that knows better than the creator that created us to express through us. It's a partnership. The entire process of awakening has taught me that it is a beautiful partnership that God and I have entered into. And that partnership, little by little, becomes so solid and so beautiful and so unbelievably satisfying that it ceases to be something that I think about as even a partnership. It just becomes a oneness, just as dancers are on a dance floor. I'm a dancer, and my partner, my beloved partner, is a dancer as well. And when we each think about, he's the lead and I'm the follow, and he does this step and I do that step, we enter into an agreement to dance together that is wonderful. We come together and we each know our part, and we come together in partnership. But when we are dancing, listening to the music, a oneness happens because we both give in to the music. He knows what to do instinctively. I know what to do instinctively. And now there is a oneness. That is where we are being moved if we allow ourselves to go, to enter into co-creative partnership with God. And then you dissolve. It's no longer a partnership, it's a oneness, because there's not two parts. There is a melding that happens. Yes, Vern.
Yeah, one of the things, or a couple of things I've been doing, which I found interesting, is when I get ready to go to the grocery store, or I've got to go to UPS store, or I have to go any place other than where I'm at right now. As I'm driving up, I get very quiet, just sit in Jeep for just a couple of minutes, and I'm asking, what can I do to add value when I walk into this environment? And it's just amazing of how much I'm observing when I walk in, of areas where there seems to be people having challenges or something's going on. Even I picked something up that fell off of the shelf that everybody else is walking by. Okay, just to lean over and pick that up. But that's bringing it in for me into a very practical day-to-day focus and awareness. And I would invite everybody to just try that for a week whenever you go into, or what I'm also doing, which I've been doing for a long, long time, but focusing more time on, is every time I see somebody, a human being across from me, especially if I know them and I've seen them before, I'm asking myself, I wonder who this is. I'm literally asking myself, as I'm walking up and we're saying hi, I'm asking myself internally, I wonder who this is. And that little thought triggers an opening for me to see things differently. And but that's just a couple of things that I'm proactively doing on a day-to-day basis, so I can put this information into a day-to-day life scenario.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, you moved out of it's all about me to expanding our recognition that we are one with all that is, which is so wonderful, because then we become more sensitized, more sensitive to what's happening around us. So thank you. I honor you being willing to receive guidance, to be in service for the greater good of all. And we all do it however we do it. And that's beautiful. Thank you. All right. Was there anybody else who wanted to share? And if not, we will go. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Laina. Just a little bit ago, you were talking about the searching and all that. Now, as you know, sometimes after I meditate, I write something down, and it's a surprise to me when I find out it means something. This is pretty short, so I just want to, it just played it. I got the message. Now's the time to say it to you. We do love our searching, the effort, the exertion, the determination with which we seek that which we already possess comes through great discipline and control. Control is capitalized with an exclamation point. Have you not discovered that there comes a time when insight becomes impotence due to your efforts, your discipline and control? Keeping up this complicated process only to discover the simplicity of just being will exhaust the time of this time, yet some will insist. You have but to ask, and within the parameter, you will be answered. And within the parameters, within my ability to understand.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful, because as little children, we came in knowing how to feel, how to hear our intuition. No child is taught what to paint when they're little. When they draw, whatever comes out of them, whatever they say that comes out of them, no human taught them that. Where's it coming from? It's so simple. They're just listening. They're just letting it flow through them. That sound flows through them. I didn't teach my little grandson to shriek. That's coming from him. The vocal cords want to express themselves. There is a movement that is coming through him. And that movement, we've all been conditioned to block. So it is so simple. Don't block it. Just be yourself. But it takes an incredible amount of time to look at all the ways that we blocked it and all the beliefs and all that stuff. So we do make it pretty difficult. And that came to you. Thank you for sharing it with us. It's just a beautiful reminder. We need to just relax and let go, but we can't relax and let go until we see how we learn how not to relax and what did we put in the way that blocked the flow. So yeah, it's a paradox. We have to work hard at getting to the point where there's no need to work, just be you. So thank you for that. All right. So I want to remind those of you who joined us just a little while ago that the Living A Course in Miracles session did not happen last night. It's going to happen tonight. So if you want to participate, let me know and I'll send you the registration link. All right. So here we are, our continuation. And if somebody will write it in the chat so everybody can see it. We are in chapter 27 in the Course in Miracles, and I'm using the 3rd edition. So if you have the 3rd edition, it's in the text and it's page 583. If you don't have the 3rd edition, we're in chapter 27, the healing of the dream, and we are in section number 7, which is called the dreamer of the dream. And today we're going to start with paragraph number 8. So chapter 27 in the text, section number 7, paragraph number 8. And this is a continuation of 7 paragraphs that are helping us understand that we have dreamt the dream of separation. We are the dreamer. We are the one who is creating the reality that we're experiencing, the perceived reality. Patricia, if you'll do me a favor and send me your request for that link, either in Telegram or in Messenger, and then I'll send it to you that way, because I know you're out of the country, so I can't text it to you. So we are learning that we have created this dream. One of the most uncomfortable things for us to recognize is that the insanity out there in the world, that the government is messed up, that the politics are corrupt, that the medical establishment is all about money, it's all about power. Not all, you know what I mean. There are a lot of really wonderful people caught up inside of that insanity, that we are being forced into vaccinating our children, putting all these chemicals into our children for a very long time. Our parents did it to us. We did it to our kids. Our kids, many of them are doing it to their children. We helped to create that insanity. It is so important that we accept that, because that begins to align us with our power to create. It begins to wake us up from the dream that it's happening to us to the truth that we chose to let that happen because we fell asleep. We let them tell us what to do. So we are coming back to the place of radical honesty. That radical honesty means that we have to accept our role as the creators of our reality. The spiritual community has been saying that for a very long time. I was in that community that said, oh, I'm the creator of my reality, except for what I don't like. I'm the creator of my reality, except for the virus. I'm the creator of my reality, except for, what the government tells me to do. So we've got to get really radically honest. We have allowed that to happen. We have contributed to that happening because we fell under the spell of it's all about me. We focused on me, We became desensitized to what was happening to others. We joined our little groups, whether it's our religious groups, our cultural groups, our ethnicity, our color, our gender, our sexuality. We got so completely bamboozled into solidifying our personal identity that we lost our unity with the all that is. So what Vern is doing, resensitizing himself at the grocery store, we have to do that, resensitize ourselves with the whole planet. To resensitize ourselves with the whole planet requires that we see that our choices, our actions, our decisions have affected. They have had an effect. And again, you got to look at this from two perspectives. This is a paradox until your mind can see it everything from two sides, the non-physical and the physical side. As a human, I am not making the children on the other side of the world starve. Laina's not doing that. However, because we are one, the non-physical part of me that is starving on the other side is counting on the me that is physical to pay attention to what am I contributing to? Where am I electing people who make decisions that are affecting the aspect of me that is starving on the other side of the world? So that realization that the Course tells us, there's only one of us here. God only has one son, one child. You and I are it. How can Renee be the one child of God and Laina be the one child of God? Because we're both made of the same energy that is just expressing itself in different ways. And we have to accept radical honesty. We have contributed to everything that is not working in this world because through our being complicit with it, whether it's paying taxes for things that are not good, whether it's by not voting, not making sure that the elections are done correctly. Our focusing on our own little world keeps us from understanding that we're part of the whole. And that's part of what we are waking up to. And that requires radical honesty, that kind of honesty that very few are going to be willing to really look at. So thank you for listening to that voice in you that is waking you up so that you can then do what the Course says. Together we will co-create a happy dream. As long as we have bodies, we're going to feel that we're separate, but we can be separate lovingly instead of being separate in hate and in fear and in judgment. So paragraph number 8, no one can waken from a dream the world is dreaming for him. Do you remember last week? And let me see if I can share the whiteboard here because I don't have my board at home. Are you guys seeing that? Can you shake your head, Kat, if you see that? The whiteboard, okay. Remember that, and please know that this is a little funky for me to do. So here, I'm gonna put, each of us over here, we are the little beings. I'll give us some little arms. We project the world that we see. We have projected out from our heart. We have created a world that we came and we wanted to experience in human form. And we put out here our father, whoops, let me see, how can I fix this? Our father, our mother, these are the beings that we gave power to. I feel like a second grader writing on the board here. We gave power to father, mother, we gave power to the preacher, we gave powers to the teacher, we gave power to the government, to the job, and to money. We gave power to things outside of us. What has happened to us is that we have been trained out of realizing that we gave them power to having these institutions have power over us. So they have created a dream for us that encompasses who we think we are. The government tells us who we are. So what I want you to understand from this dream is that you projected yourself as being under their control. They are projecting to you that they have you under their control. So we have created a perfect scenario. We disempower ourselves. They think they have power over us. So let me read this again. No one can waken from a dream. The world is dreaming for him. If we think that they have power and they are exercising the power, if the boss at the job can decide, well, you know, you can't work here anymore, and you believe that you are doomed because they fired you. If the money goes away and you think you are doomed because you don't have that money coming to you from the outside, if the government tells you that you have to give your power away and you feel you're doomed because that happens, you're letting them create a dream for you. You're letting them cancel out your ability to be the creator of your own reality. The only way this can be changed is if you begin to undo the idea that they have power over you. If you begin to come back into the truth of who you are and untether yourself from these external sources being what has power over you, because you've given authority to them. Come back into power within yourself. So if you don't like the dream that you're experiencing, stop dreaming it. If you don't like the government telling you what you should do, stop doing what the government is telling you. If you don't like being sick by external sources, polluting, whatever, if it's yours to do something about, ask God, what would you have me do? I do not like this stuff that's going on with chemtrails. Is that mine to do? It may not be yours to do anything specifically out there, but it may be yours to get more involved in understanding how does that get funded? How does your vote, allow that to happen? We have to wake up to recognize that the world that we are living in is a world that has been created because we fell asleep and gave our power away. This is a very exciting time. It's a time of taking our power back. And to take your power back, you've got to see how your voice matters. Your voice coming out of your throat chakra can only come forth from love if you begin to love yourself enough to believe that you deserve something better. The voices that are being activated right now is amazing. Around the globe, people saying, no, it's not okay, in a peaceful way, in a I will not comply way that is grounded in love. Those who speak from fear and use their throat chakra to speak from fear, to blame, to judge, to shame, to censor, we are seeing the difference between those who are using their voice with fear and those who are using their voice with love. That is because the dreamers are waking up, and we are collectively getting clear that we want to create something new that's never been before, and it's going to be created with love. I love myself enough to have a world that is clean, that is healthy, that is loving, that is transparent. That is the place that we wake up from the dream. Sentence number 2 says, he becomes a part of someone else's dream. When we gave power to these outside forces, we now are part of the government's dream to control us. So he cannot choose to waken from a dream he did not make. They made me do it. The government has control. See how all of us here, we all got conditioned. The government had power over us. We didn't think that we could take our power back. That is what the dreamers right now, some people call them the sheep, it doesn't matter what we call them, those who still believe the government has their best interest at heart, are dreaming that the government is the dreamer of their dream. They deserve compassion, not judgment. Because sentence number 4 says, helpless they stand. They are victims to a dream conceived and cherished by a separate mind. Careless indeed of him, this mind must be. Doesn't care about me. I can't change anything. They're the ones who are in charge of me. As thoughtless of his peace and happiness as is the weather or the time of day. What has happened to us is we have fallen asleep thinking the government will take care of me. Oh, now they're not taking care of me. Now they're hurting me. That cognitive dissonance is what is helping people wake up. That's why they need us to be examples of those who are not trusting the government, because we are waking up to the fact that we don't give our power externally. The external are representatives of the power that we have. So that's where the Constitution comes in, a document that was inspired by God, truths that were inspired for us to operate from. And look, over 200 years, we still don't live to the fullness of what the document is attempting to do. So those of us who are waking up are becoming the examples for those who are still asleep to see, well, how is it that you're so peaceful and so happy while this world is falling apart? Because it is going to get a lot crazier. And when you can walk through the grocery store with peace in your heart, be nice and kind to other people while the sleepers are in terror. They're afraid that somebody's going to get them sick. They believe the insanity that somebody else can affect them after they got inoculated with something that was supposed to help them. That kind of cognitive dissonance is really, really uncomfortable to move through. But they will wake up faster under two circumstances. They need to have the noose tighten more, which is why I'm really excited for the really tough things that are coming. I really am excited about that because I see all of us as eternal beings. So I don't see victims anymore. I see everybody as playing the role that they chose to play at this time on this stage called planet Earth. So I don't see any victims. So I'm super excited for the really rough things that are coming ahead. So the noose is going to get tightened on them, and we have to be the lighthouses that show them another way. They have to see examples of how to find peace in the midst of the darkness, how to find a sense of sovereignty in the midst of this insanity. That is why we have been called to be those who save our brothers and sisters. The course is really clear. We save our brothers and sisters. We're in charge of their salvation, not because we go do the work for them, but because we become an example of the work that is possible for them. Very, very different. We're not here to fix them because they're not broken. We're here to remind them that we move through our own personal weakness and fears and brokenness. We found our wholeness. If I can do it, so can you. That is the message that is most needed right now. Be examples of how you got to that place. So it goes on to say in sentence number 6, it loves him not, the world, the dream, the government, all of that. It loves him not, but casts him as it will in any role that satisfies its dream. People are realizing government doesn't love them. The medical establishment, those pharmaceutical companies don't really care about them. They're poisoning them. That is really uncomfortable to realize that the ones that I thought cared about me never really did. Yes, it's a small number. It's a minority that is operating at that level, but it's still the minority that we gave so much power to. Sentence number 7. So little is his worth that he is but a dancing shadow, leaping up and down according to a senseless plot conceived within the idle dreaming of the world. Most people feel that they have no power, that they can't change what has happened. We need to be the example that we are changing what is happening because we came inside to realign with our sovereignty. We came inside to clean up the illusion that power is outside of us. We have to be the change we want to see in the world by becoming one that is no longer blaming outside, oh, you did this to me, but coming inside and saying, no, this is what I want done. This is the world that I want to see created, and align vibrationally with those who are co-creating that kind of world. And there are plenty of them. So instead of talking about what's going wrong, let's be very deliberate about what is going well. Look at all the people that got elected into school boards, all of the patriots, all of the parents that are entering into school boards to make new decisions, to take back the school system. Look at all of the governors that are saying no and pushing back against the overreach of the government. Are you participating? I forget what that's called, the something of states. There is a consortium of states that is happening. I can't remember the term, but if somebody knows what I'm talking about, type it in the chat. The states are taking their power back. There is an organization that if you will join in that, you will see that there is a understanding that in our Constitution, there is a way for the states to take their power back, because the power is in the people. It's not in the federal government. So how do we take it back? Give yourself permission to use your power from love and not fear, from what is good for the greater good, which is the freedom of every single being. Do you know, until everybody's free, none of us is free. Because while there's a speck, 1, 2, 3, a small number who still lives in bondage, it is going to want to take from others to find its freedom. It Let's see, what did you write there? The state rights. Yes, it is, but there's an organization, I've got it written down somewhere, and it's stated in our Constitution that the Congress of States, something along those lines. Anyhow, that is happening. That is happening. Focus on where the correction is happening. There are class action lawsuits that are happening. Don't focus on the class action lawsuit that is going to punish somebody. Focus on the class action lawsuits that is going to put an end to the insanity, that is going to birth a new way of freedom in medicine, a new way of healing, a new way of activating sovereignty, so that we can understand the power of our bodies. Focus on the good that is coming by looking for those who are doing that. Convention of States. Thank you, Kat. That's it. There is a conventionofstates.com or .org. Look for that. They are doing incredible work to change a lot of the things that need correction. All right, so paragraph number 9. This is the only picture you can see, the one alternative that you can choose, the other possibility of cause, if you be not the dreamer of the dreams. When we are believing that the dream outside is being dreamt for us, we only see one picture. That is it. There's only one alternative that we can choose. That is it. It's being caused to me. And sentence number 2, and this is what you choose if you deny the cause of suffering is in your mind. If we deny that our mind has created all of the suffering that we see in the world, my mind created it for me, Lisa's mind created it for her, Patricia's mind created it for her, and we have projected that suffering out into the world. We have allowed it to happen. And this is what is so beautiful about the Course in Miracles. It is training us to understand the power of our mind. It is training us to see that our mind is the cause of everything. This is why we have to be the change we want to see in the world. We've got to stop blaming and shaming out there, come back inside, take full responsibility for what we want, and then focus on that. If you want a government that is clean, what are you doing to be a part of that? Are you electing those people? Are you participating in making sure that the elections of the people that you want, that are going to be representatives of what you desire, are you making sure that that's happening? We have got to get active. We are here with physical bodies to take action after we're inspired into that action. And not everybody is going to take the same action. For many, the action comes from visualization, from prayer, from just seeing what it is that we prefer. That's why we have monks all around the world, that they're not physically participating in taking down the government, but their minds focused on the desire for a world that is free for all beings, for all beings. They have power. Why? Because they're activating the frequency of high vibration, the higher frequency. And their prayers, their meditation is a vibration that ripples out as intention of a desired outcome, because it's coming from a mind that is desiring with the heart. So don't compare who's doing what. Listen to what you're being guided to do, and clean up your mind's misperceptions, clean up your mind's condemnations of others, judgments of others. Come back inside and remember the truth of who you are. You're powerful beyond measure, because God is working through you, whether you have been believing it or not. But God can do more through us if we don't block it with our ego. So there's so much here that needs to be understood, but it is so simple, as Tom said. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. When you follow your heart, you will notice that if it is God's will, it is for the greater good always. Always. If you follow your heart from your ego, it's always going to be selfish. It's always going to be about me. That's how you keep it simple. So then sentence number 2 says, and this is what you choose if you deny the cause of suffering is in your mind. We choose that the outside creates a reality. So be glad indeed. It is for thus are you the one decider of your destiny and time. We are the deciders. The greatest power that we have, I can't tell you exactly where it is. It's one of the lessons. We have the power of decision. We get to decide every thought that we believe, we decide to believe or not. Every action that we take, we decide to take it or not. Every experience that we have, we decide to have it or not. Every perception that we have of whatever is happening is only possible through a decision to perceive with the ego or with God. So how you use your mind to perceive is a decision. And if you decide to align with God, then you are deciding to cross the line to the side that is going to be co-creating a new earth. That's what's happening. If you are thinking that you're awake, but you are going to let others do it for you and you're going to trust that they're going to take care of it for you, you are still asleep. You may be awakening, but you are still asleep if you are putting your power externally. If you decide to be part of the change, you will allow God to influence through inspiration what it is that you're going to be doing, because you have decided to move out of your comfort zone. Because I'm going to say for the majority of us, we're being asked to step into something that is beyond our comfort zone. I had no idea that I was going to be going up against the spiritual community and moving myself out of the limitations of being inside of a community that is all about love and light in the head, but not actively aligning it with the heart, which means that you're committed to walking the talk. I had no idea. I thought I was always going to stay really comfortable in my little community. But I've been thrust out of that community because it is for my greater good. And if it's for my greater good, it's for the greater good of all. That I use my voice on a different platform, that I use my voice that says, I will not comply. And to be a spiritual person that was, a liberal, I still have a very liberal mind. And you know what liberal means to me? Liberty. Everybody should be free. So I absolutely believe that each and every one of us is the child of God, and each and every one of us is capable of creating creating the reality that we believe we deserve. And I am standing very firmly to speak to that is that is our power, not sugarcoating it with love and light, but rather face the darkness because you helped create it. That's empowering, so that you can pull that power that you give to the darkness, pull it back. Don't give it your power. So that's what this is saying right here. We have to be the decider to face the darkness and see it has no power over us. That's how you know somebody is fully awake. They face the darkness and say, you don't scare me. I have the light in me and I'm shining it on you. I can see you're calling for love. I can see you're totally, completely unaware of how powerful you are. But because I'm aware of my power, I'm going to shine my light on you so that you can find yours. Not because I'm telling you what to do, but because I found it for me. And that's what I'm an example of. Every one of us that is here, every one of us that is anywhere influencing anybody, even if it's just your neighbor or your cat in your house, you are a chosen. Well, let me say it differently. Nobody is chosen. You have chosen to be an example of the truth of who everybody is. You have woken up. You're waking up. And awakening is a journey. It's a process. like a baby wakes up for a couple hours a day, then it wakes up for a few more hours, and so on until we stay awake for about, maybe 20 hours a day. So it is a gradual process awakening. So here it is again, be glad indeed that it is for thus. Are you the one decider of the destiny and time? The choice is yours to make between a sleeping death and dreams of evil, or a happy wakening and joy of life. The choice is very clear. It's one side or the other. You're choosing the high frequency of love and joy, or you're choosing the low frequency of evil, of death, of destruction. As you can see, the jabs that are being injected are leading to death, because there is a need to kill the joy inside each and every one of us. There is a need by those who want to control to take the slightest bit shred of the happiness that we might have, take that away, because they get their power through the disempowerment of others. And that's what we used to do. We all have to be radically honest. A lot of us, I know I did. I used to get my high by being the mother and telling my children what to do because they needed to make me look good. I got a high when I was the one who won the awards at my company. I was the best salesperson because I did whatever I needed to do to take care of me. I didn't care if somebody didn't get an account, if they didn't make the commissions, or they didn't get the ability to feed their family because I took that contract. I didn't care about that. Part of me wasn't out there trying to hurt anybody, but the ego mind that was running the show was always about me. It was always about me. With my sisters, if there was an opportunity for somebody to get blamed other than me, even if it was my fault, I took it. And if we all became radically honest, we would all recognize that in our lives, we have placed ourselves first. That is, believe it or not, evil, according to what the Course in Miracles wants us to see, because it's a block to love. It's a block to life. It's a block to joy. And when we get clear that we have the capacity to enter into the kind of evil that we're seeing in the world, that we could enter into the kind of evil that places us in positions of power, be it a president, be it a CEO of a corporation, be it the head of the central bank. When we recognize that every human has the capacity to block love, to block light, to block truth to that extent that we can create a division so wide that it blocks just about all the light, we can be just as evil. We can be just as self-centered. We could be just as destructive, and even to the point that we would want to get rid of 95% of humanity. When you acknowledge that you have the ability to do that, you will really be able to acknowledge how powerful we are. Because if you don't see that we can use the power for good or for evil just as equally, you don't understand that the people that are doing these acts of evil, they're using the same power that we need to activate for the greater good of all. Because they're calling, truly, they're calling for love. We need to stand in our sovereignty and love ourselves enough to say, we're not playing the game like that anymore. We're not participating in the destruction of humanity. We are standing for the upliftment of all beings. And I'm starting by uplifting me out of the insanity of the ego. I'm realizing that I'm the creator of my dream. I'm deciding to be radically honest and realizing, recognizing, and doing something about what is happening by taking 100% responsibility for opening my portal to God, to consciousness, allowing the truth to come and infuse me with a whole new way of doing things. Because if you don't open up to allowing what's never been here before to enter, we'll only continue to do what's already been here. And that insanity is what we're waking up from. So clearly we don't have enough time here at it's 1:11 according to my time here. I guess, oh no, that's your time there. So my time here, it's 11:11 on 11:11. How cool is that? Because I normally don't look at the clock when I'm doing this at such a beautiful specific time. So we're not going to start paragraph 10 because we won't have enough time to get into that. But I'm only going to read the first sentence. What could you choose between but life or death, waking or sleeping, peace or war, your dreams or your reality? That's the line in the sand. The choice is really clear. Are you going to choose reality or are you going to choose the dream? To be in the dream, somebody else then is dreaming it for you. Somebody else has power over you. If you're choosing the reality, you're choosing to align with God and recognize that the power of God to shift this planet can only come into the planet when we accept that power to work through us, to work in us. We are so important to the creation, the co-creation of a new earth. We need to humble ourselves before this incredible power and go, wow, I cannot do of myself alone the greater works that are necessary to change this world. I am willing to enter into partnership with you, God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. That level of humbleness can only come from one who really understands that you matter, you are important, you're powerful, you're needed, you're necessary to the collective awakening. The role that you play is so important, but you're going to be playing a role that's never been before. So humble yourself enough to like the Course says, I don't know what anything is for. We don't know. We don't know what that new world is going to look like, but we do know that the architect of it needs to use us so that we can become the ones who bring it forth. Allow inspiration to come through you. If you're thinking the same old ways, it's not going to come through. We need to open ourselves up. And more importantly than us opening ourselves up to receiving is to listen to the children who are coming in already with the ideas of how to create a new world. They're coming in with inspiration because that is their role. They chose to incarnate to help us learn. So we got to move out of that old belief that we teach the children about the old earth. We give them the old history. Stop feeding history into the minds of children and let them bring us into the new earth by inviting them, asking them, if you are blessed enough to have a young person in your life, ask them, how do you think we should do things from your perspective? How could things be better? Those are the kids who have created blockchain system. Those are the ones who are wanting to create transparency. They're the ones who cannot understand how our government is so in debt. They're the ones who get the money system is all messed up. The central banking is crazy. They get that. They know that they want to trade. They want to pay each other in ways that are transparent. So great, wonderful things are coming. But we have to be part of what creates a path for that to emerge. And it starts with realizing that we only have one problem, and that's the authority problem. Are you aligned with listening to the inspiration that is coming through you and accepting that it is from something magnificent that cares about all of it because it created all of it? Are you willing to align with that? If you do, you're making the choice to cross the line and be a pioneer in a new earth. So that's really exciting. So with that, we complete the reading of the course. I want to let you all know we will not have a gathering next week. That just happened to be the day that I'm traveling back. It wasn't up to me to make traveling plans. It was up to my daughter and grandson because they're traveling back with me to Atlanta to spend Thanksgiving over there. So that was the day that worked for her to travel. So we will not meet on the 17th. Again, if you want to be in Living A Course in Miracles tonight, message me outside of here. And whether it's a text, whether it's email to laina@lainaorlando.com or messenger or telegram, and I'll send you the link to register. It's only $20 to join us tonight. And anybody, please unmute yourselves and share with all of us any nuggets that you might have gotten from today's conversation. I'm so grateful that you were here. Patricia, so good to see you here. And Natalia, good to have you. So please unmute yourselves. Renee, this was your first time here. What did you think of this gathering? This is pretty much the way it goes every week?
Yes, I'm enjoying it because I've had this book, like I said, for a couple of years, and I started it, and then COVID hit, and now I feel you were brought into my life to get back to business. That was his way of letting me know, get back to business. So you'll be hearing from me.
Thank
As
you.
far as
Thank you for joining.
tonight. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. That is so wonderful. Who else? Who got a nugget or something you want to share with us? Laina, you look radiant in the sunshine. What did you think of today's conversation?
It was, Laina, as much as I'm learning and embracing so much of this work and spending time with you, you always just kind of help dial me back in, because there's so much going on, and you still get in the head, even though the head's not really running the show as much as it used to be, but you still find yourself, or I do, getting in the head and getting like getting all over the place in the head.
Yes,
makes
and
sense.
listen, yes, and it still happens to me. It still happens to me. The only difference with me today than when I started is I can shift out of it a lot faster. I can dial myself in pretty quickly. I don't have to go crazy before I choose to be sane again. I just sit so deeply in in my inner being that I can observe the thoughts before they become a thing. And the minute that I will observe those thoughts, I can feel the rising of judgment. I can feel the rising of fear, and I choose and shift and lift very quickly. That's it. That's the only difference. And in the Course in Miracles, Jesus tells us very clearly that the only difference between him and any one of us is he knows the truth of who he is, and he's not confused. We are still confused. I have a little less confusion because I've been practicing this for a long time. So you may just have a little bit more confusion, but we're doing the exact same work, getting out of the head, coming into the heart, and using the head in service to the heart, aligning the two so that we can operate congruently. Christ consciousness is that, a head in service to love. That is what the Christed consciousness is us. We raise our consciousness so we can think at the highest level of thought, which means the mind at the highest level of reason is in service to a pure heart that is no longer selfish, is no longer about me. So thank you so much for that share, Laina. Yes, who else wants to share? Lisa, what nugget did you get today?
Well, we just had our little pep rally right before this Zoom meeting. And I just have to say that, every time I listen on this Zoom, I just walk away with so much more clarity. And it's just for me to continue to practice, because I'll hang up from this phone call and I might not have a coaching meeting with you for another 2 weeks. And my ego wants me to slip right back into those old patterns and those behaviors. And, even if I watch or study every day, each lesson, and I'm in it, it's just a constant battle. But like you say, to forgive myself, and to go deeper inside, and to be able to be still enough to listen to that inner voice and knowing. I'm not there yet, because the ego likes to control. And when you say you start to feel judgment, or you start to, and I can just turn on the TV and turn on the news, and it's gone. I'm running with it. So it's practice for me. It's a lot of practice.
It was a lot of practice. Listen, I am on my journey now almost 20 years. And I would say the first 10 was being able to catch my ego, to see my ego in action, to be clear about what the ego was about. The next 5 were that connection between head and heart, to learn how to let my heart be the one that led and put my head in service too. And so the last 5 have been the easiest ones. So I absolutely get it. And they're only easier because I no longer believe a single thought in my own head. I absolutely do not believe anything my ego says. So I am very comfortable being wrong all the time. So when my ego wants to be right about, I know what that person did terrible, I'm really comfortable being wrong. I don't know. I don't know what anything is for. But it took me a lot of practice to be comfortable being wrong. That the ego doesn't want us to be wrong, because I know my ego doesn't know anything that is right. And when we're operating with God's way, there's not a sense of right or wrong. You just feel, it's a very neutral recognition of truth. And there's no celebrating in the head righteousness. You don't need to tell it to anybody. You just live it. And that is the promise that every single one of us can attain. If Jesus did it, if Gandhi did it, if Viktor Frankl did it in the middle of a concentration camp, I can do it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I know I'm not any more special than anybody. I am just an average, ordinary woman, and ordinary being, ordinary soul on this planet doing extraordinary work. And the extraordinary work was the work of being comfortable with not being right about everything I was wrong about. That's a tongue twister. Well, I am so grateful that you guys are willing to come into these conversations. It really is so wonderful. So who else got a nugget that you're taking with you, that you don't mind sharing with us? Natalia, you always have something to share. Yes, Tom.
You know, when it came to the choices on 10, you know, my mind said I choose life, waking, peace, and reality.
Life,
You know,
wake,
So
I've
that's
been,
it. Let
I'm sorry?
me hold on a second. I heard some chat in the background. So he's reading sentence number 1 in paragraph 10. That's what he's referring to. Go ahead, Tom.
So, you know, as you know, I've been having this little war inside of, you know, God would never pick someone like me to be a projection of love. So during this meeting, and then I met with a young man this morning who's just recently stopped abusing drugs and alcohol. And I had this moment where I just introduced myself to him, sat down, and that he's a young guy. He's like 22 years old. And he looks at me and he goes, man, I don't know what it is, but I just feel this calm and this loving peace coming off of you. And I went straight to Laina. I was like, this is another guy who's waking up. He's becoming aware. He can, you know, I know that at some point I won't need validation, but it's like, you know, this path that I'm on, the amount of time I spend meditating is unreal. The amount of peace that I just, that it's every time I think it can't increase anymore. You know, I go through this meeting with you today and it does. I mean, just miraculously, it seems to magnify itself.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, it's like at times God gives me a little insight into how much I cannot comprehend, but that I do have a role I am perfectly capable of playing.
Yeah.
And I'm very comfortable with that. It doesn't induce fear anymore that I can't understand something. So
But what you said, not only is it so beautiful and so profound, but think about, all of us have been conditioned with, we all heard it from somebody, who do you think you are? So we all have this thought that we can't possibly be that wonderful. We can't possibly do something great or grand or different. So we have to move through that limiting belief. How can I be used to serve humanity? It seems like a tall order to a conditioned mind, but that's like easy peasy to our soul. because our soul knows that we were born to bring love and light to the planet. We were born to come here and change things. And what waking up is doing is it's removing the obstacles so our soul can finally get about the mission that it came to do. And that's exactly what you're doing. And the well of peace is so vast that we cannot even fully comprehend it until we're no longer limited by a physical vessel. So when we go through the transition and we are on the other side and we return to the all that isness and in our non-physicalness, we will be able to experience all of that. And from that place of vastness, we will choose to incarnate yet again. But each time remembering more and more, a thinner veil, a thinner veil, a thinner veil, because why would you want to block the love that you are once you, in this incarnation, say, no, wait, I'm going to incarnate with awareness. And the kids are coming in younger and younger, waking up sooner and sooner because they don't need the contrast as long as we needed it. So thank you for being there, present to help another one feel that peace. Because he's saying, well, if you can do it, so can I. Because they're really coming in very clear that they're entitled to peace and joy and sovereignty. And the adults that are expressing that are their favorite ones. That's who they want to be connected to. Yeah, they're drawn to that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, anybody else? And then we'll complete our wonderful gathering. All right, if you want to come tonight, message me directly and I'll send you the link to register. It's only $20 to join us tonight. And it's more of a meditation. It's more of a very quiet contemplation, but it's also a group coaching and an activation of sovereignty, because that's the commitment, is to feel it. Here, it's more of a me giving you instruction from the Course in Miracles as guided with my brother Jesus, my holy brother, who I love the guidance that he gives me, trying to push me into doing things that I really don't want to do, but it's happening. All right, thank you all so much. Please unmute yourselves and let's say love you to each other, and thank you, and have a wonderful day. Mwah! Kisses to you
Love
too.
you guys.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Laina.
day.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everybody.
Yes,
Bye.
and
Blessings.
please share this video. Bye bye.
You do. Bye.